This is a tutorial to show you how to do the inanimate object robot or the composite robot project in Photoshop. So what you're going to be doing is assembling photos from the internet in Photoshop on a document to build a robot out of all of these unexpected objects. And you don't have to take the pictures of the objects yourself. All you have to do is get on Google and search for some objects that you wouldn't expect to build a robot that when you put them all together will look like your own funky robot creation. And you're going to have a total of 15 objects altogether that are going to make up your robot. 15. So you can see here that I have my robot broken down into the 15 objects that make it up. I have two different types of tubes for the legs, a tin can body, a Google Mini speaker as the speaker on its body, shovels for arms, a coiled wire tail. This is actually an old phone charger. A plunger at the end of the tail for, picking stuff up, a spring for its neck, a light bulb for its head, red light bulbs for its eyes. Its ears are actually frying pans with camera lenses on top of them, a funnel for its hat, or the top of its head, and then I have metal toothpicks for its antenna, and a flashlight on top so that he can light his way. So I have a total of 15 different photos all together that make up my robot. And you're going to be doing the same thing. So to get started here, we're going to need good old-fashioned Google. And you're going to want to search for some objects to make up your robot. Now, things that we want to avoid are typing in anything like robot arm. Okay, we're not interested in anything that's going to look like an actual arm or be intended for that purpose. So in the same way, we're also going to avoid googly eyes for the eyes. We want to make sure that we are using random objects that would work, but would not be intended for the use of creating a robot. Okay, so nothing that looks like the original body parts that you're trying to create, such as googly eyes or a robot arm or robot legs, just not going to work. We want random objects here. We also want to make sure that when we are Googling, that we are working from photos, not graphics. Okay, so for example, when I type in light bulb, I want to make sure that I'm working from a photograph of a light bulb, not a digital graphic like this. So everything needs to be a photograph. Otherwise, you're going to end up losing points on this project. Now, I will tell you guys that the simplest background to use is going to be a white background. Okay, so if you can find photos that are on a white background, then your life is going to be much easier for this project. Similarly, you can also use photos that are on a simple background such as the color black, but white is definitely going to be preferred. You're going to save each of your 15 photos by right-clicking on it, going to Save Image As, and I recommend creating a folder either in your downloads, your pictures, or your documents, wherever you want to save them, by clicking New Folder, and call it your robot parts. Save all of your images in this folder and make sure that you're titling them as you go so that you don't have a hard time finding them later. Your save as type should always be either a JPEG or a PNG. If you're trying to save anything else that says like web file or some other funky file format, it's not going to save and it's not going to work. Okay, once you have all of your robot parts, you should have a folder with 15 different images in it, just like I have here. And you can see I've done a great job of labeling everything so that I know how to open everything and I can work alphabetically without losing track of where I am on this project. Because ultimately you're going to be editing all 15 of these photos. So when you're ready to start building your robot, you're going to come into Photoshop, go to File, New. We're going to build our robot on just a letter size piece of paper. So 8.5 inches wide, 11 inches high for a portrait orientation with a resolution of 300. And press Create. Okay, that will give you your blank template, and this is where we're going to build our robot. So what we're going to have to do is take all 15 of these photos and open them one by one in Photoshop to create a layer mask, just like we've already done in our previous assignment, and remove the background so that we just have the object on a transparent background. This will allow us to build our our robot. So I'm going to get started by going to File, Open. I'm going to go to my robot parts, and then I'm going to click on my first file. I recommend doing this in alphabetical order. Okay, so you can see here that I have a camera lens, and it's opened as a new file. I still have my template here where I'm going to build my robot. So to start my layer mask, I'm going to take my favorite selection tool. The quick selection tool is probably going to be the easiest one. I'm going to click and drag around the camera lens. Ooh, got a little bit down there that I didn't want, but that's okay. We know we can edit it later. Here we go. And once I've selected everything that I want in my camera lens, I'm going to hit the Add a Mask button at the bottom of my layer palette. As you guys remember, that's going to take me into mask editing mode, where you can see on my layer palette, I have the black and white thumbnail next to the thumbnail of the original image. When I'm in mask editing mode, I can take my brush tool. Black is going to remove content, white will add content. So in this case, I want to remove this black part that I accidentally got of the shadow underneath. So I'm just going to carefully use the brush tool. I messed up, so I'm just going to go back a step. Probably want to work with a bigger brush size than one I've got. It'll be a little bit easier. Perfect. Once I'm done editing, I go over the black and white thumbnail, I right click on it, and I hit Apply Layer Mask. Okay, now that I've applied my layer mask and my thumbnail has changed to show what I have here, which is my camera lens on top of a transparent gray and white checkered background, I'm ready to move it over to my robot file. So what I'm going to do is select all by either going to select and then all, or using my shortcut of Control A. Then I need to copy it. So I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, or use my shortcut of Control C. Bring it over to my robot template, where I'm going to go to Edit, Paste, or the shortcut of Control V. And you can see now my camera lens is on its own layer on top of the white background. Last thing I'm going to do is double click on my layer so that I can rename it. I'm just going to name it what the object is. That way it can help me. If my camera lens is too big for what I want to use it for, I can go to Edit, Free Transform, or Control T as the shortcut. And that will allow me to shrink it down, make it bigger, or spin it around if I feel like I want to, and then just press Enter. Okay, you're going to repeat this process for all 15 of your photos. First, opening them to edit them and remove the background. If it's white, it'll be really quick and easy. If you have a more complicated background, it's going to take you a little bit more time, but that's okay. Edit it so that you create a layer mask of just your object and then copy and paste it over onto your robot template. When you are done assembling your robot, you're going to go to File, Save As, and save a PSD copy of your robot. Then for what you're going to turn in, because we are working with all photos here, we're going to turn this in as a JPEG. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. Oh, it's still saving from the last time. That's okay. File, Save As. Oh, still saving. It's okay. It might take a while for it to save because it's got a lot of layers going on. There we go. File, Save As one more time. And then change the Save As type to JPEG to turn in. Remember, we want just JPEG, not JPEG 2000 and not JPEG stereo. And then hit Save. And then press OK. When you're done with your robot and it's all saved, you're going to turn in the JPEG of your final robot along with all 15 of your source photos on Google Classroom. If you want to put your source photos all in a Google Doc, you can do so, or you can attach them all separately by just selecting them all and clicking and dragging them into Google Classroom to turn them in. But in order to receive a grade for this assignment, you will have to attach all 15 of your source photos as well as turn in your robot.